You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kerbyson, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerbyson, joined with Reed Bacon. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to be back. That little theme music got me pumped. Excited to talk about this upcoming season. Can't wait to get into everything that's newsworthy so far. And then super excited. We're going to get to go to practice on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. So get a glimpse of guys, new guys, see what we're looking at on the team. But before we get into everything we're going to talk about, the most important thing, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Come on!
He's out of his world. He's hyped.
Dude, I got that hype when I just saw you pop up on the screen. I was just like, dude, let's freaking ride.
Pop up in my pants, man. Jeez.
I'm just excited just to see you and just to be able to know that I'm going to have time with you for, the next however many weeks. And I don't even think that this equates to me knowing like, hey, football's around the corner. I'm just juiced to see you. I think it's also, too, with the nature of my work, the nature of your work, even when we weren't doing the podcast last year or when we stopped doing, we had our little breaks last year, the year before that, like I was still calling you almost every day.
Yeah.
And we were still talking and checking up. But I feel like this last break that we had from last season until spring until now, like we just haven't talked as much just because I've been a lot busier during the day. Mm-hmm. I know you've been busier and stuff. So it's just, I think that's what I'm most excited about. And by the way, this is fake right now because I just tried to plug it in when you were doing the intro and I plugged it in and I couldn't hear you. So I was like, I panicked. I pulled it out real quick.
Oh my gosh. This is a glimpse behind the scenes, people. We've had about 6 months to prepare and Reed is waiting until the podcast actually starts to plug in his mic.
Well, the funny thing is, I've had this mic for about 3 years, and I just opened it out of the box. So it kind of looks cool, to have it, but I'll get it working. Great. Yeah, I'll get it working soon.
Good. Everybody wants to hear those beautiful tones coming out of your voice.
And you know what? I might even wear I got my dad some of the big Beats for probably either last year's Christmas or 2 years ago, so that when he rides the mower, he can listen to music. But I just steal those, have those not plugged into anything, have this not plugged into anything, but it just looks good.
You literally can't hear me at all. You just continue to talk.
Yeah. Dude, what have you been up to, bro?
Man, just working a ton. Trying to finish up projects. I am trying to do stuff around the house, trying to get some demo done, trying to do some I just bought me some graph paper so I could draw out the rooms that we're going to do and give Brianne a little bit more design detail because she's going to be the one kind of picking out stuff. Obviously, I'll have input, but it's always easier for her to visualize if I can draw it for her. It's very hard, spatial visualization for her. So just prepping all that kind of stuff and then trying to get smarter, put some more knowledge in this brain, studying for a GC license. So we got some things going.
Hey, forgive me. I know we talked, and I feel like at the first of the year, y'all were you had your ski trip. You had a wedding to go to down in the beach, which was funny because they were back-to-back weeks. So you went from way up north to way down south. Did you go anywhere this summer? I can't remember if y'all took a.
No, we didn't go anywhere this summer. Just kind of hung out at the house.
Yeah.
But we got a trip coming up going to Pigeon Forge. My Mamaw's 90th birthday
It's incredible.
It's incredible. She's, fit as a fiddle.
Good for her.
She's doing great. My mom's mom. And so everybody's getting together up in Pigeon Forge in a cabin, the whole family.
Is that coming up?
Like family reunion, kind of.
Is that like this month or in a couple months?
Yeah, no, it's this month.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
I'm excited about that, though.
Yeah, so you'll have coming in next weekend for practice and for golf and hanging out, and then you'll have that, and then you'll be back in, I guess, for the Georgia game?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. So
that's
I'm pretty hype about it.
Yeah. No, I kind of keep forgetting the Georgia game so early and that it's here. I am beyond juice for that thing.
It's kind of flipped. It kind of flipped with Florida.
Yeah, and you know what? What's so nice about that is we've gotten our licks against Florida now, meaning like me personally, I've been able to go to the game early on in the season, good weather, and we beat them. And so it's kind of like, let's see if bringing it a little bit further up in the schedule helps us do that against Georgia. I have to really go back and remind myself and look at stuff and think about it again, because when football season's over, I really do kind of detach from it a good amount.
Yeah.
And really it is the last game of the season that you think about. Obviously that didn't end well, but then you still think about the good wins. But like, I kind of forgot about how well we played against Georgia to start that game. And that game really came down to some actual money down, some crunch time plays.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, sorry. I can't, I'm excited and hopeful for that. I know that, dude, Neyland will be absolutely bonkers.
For a long time, the Tennessee-Florida game was like the open to SEC play. Like not just our open SEC play. It was like the first SEC game in the SEC. Like that, like it was so early. It was like for week 3, nobody else had played an SEC game. Like we were like, hey, we're opening it up. And, late 90s, early 2000s, that game decided who won the East. Yeah. Like almost every year. So it's weird that we're not doing it anymore, but it is fun. It's a new experience.
And now that you bring up the fact about Florida, dude, it should maybe give us a better opportunity to hopefully win in the Swamp. I mean, ideally, as a Tennessee fan, I do think DJ Lagway is going to be really darn good. But we have also seen it as Tennessee fans where the bottom fell out for Butch, and Sunbelt Billy could potentially have that if they get off to a rough start to begin the season, or even if they start faltering halfway through.
For sure.
And we're going down there. We're going down there late in the year. Maybe we still have a lot to play for. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's fired, or maybe he's got to win the game. I don't know. But it's also a nice little change of pace there instead of having to go to the Swamp in September and it's 9 million degrees.
I mean, during my time there, that happened a lot. Florida won, 2 games to start the season, beat us, and then they lost their last 5. You know what I mean? Like, It happened a few times while I was there, and it was like, dang, dude, if like we switched this game with South Carolina or something, right? Like I felt like it was like, oh, that'd be different. It would feel different.
What was the Shark Humper's name? What was that coach's name they had? It was, I think was he before Will Muschamp?
He might have been.
But I feel like him and Muschamp, it would be like they would beat us. But you're right, Greg McElroy. Is it McElwain or?
You're close. It might be that.
I'll look it up real quick because that's just gonna bother me. But anyways, we don't have to get sidetracked on that. Yeah. So I pulled up on the phone when we were talking just some of the quick hitters that I wanted to hit going into today. I mean, we're going to keep this, pretty brief. Because of what next week's going to be and then continuing on. But, man, on this side of the house in East Tennessee in Knoxville, man, life's been great. I can't complain. Starting bacon junk removal back in the fall and having it progress like it has been, nothing short of amazing and something that I have enjoyed. And I finally woke up one day, maybe a month or so ago after it kind of had started to like have some consistency. Let's say that. because I still want to grow it, much more than it is now. But being able to consistently have money coming in. I mean, when you turn a notice in and you're starting this, and it's like all you're getting money coming in is the jobs that you go and pick up, and then dipping into savings, which is going to happen. But when it started consistently, and I said, man, the Lord has blessed me with the life I've always wanted. And it was a very humbling and very emotional. I was like, dude, this is I'm living the life that I always wanted to live, with meeting Megan, getting married to her last year, us finding a home and a house that we absolutely love and adore. And now I'm finally, that last piece for me was I always wanted to work for myself. Mm-hmm. And it never knew what it would be, but and I never thought it'd be junk removal. I mean, but now that I'm doing it, it's just I just wake up every day just super grateful. And I say that hoping that anyone that hears my voice on the other side of this mic or whatever, they get to that point. But I just appreciate anybody and everybody that's reached out to me for opportunities, for leaving reviews. It's been awesome. I've gotten to work for some really awesome people, made some great connections. And other than that, we've just been rocking and rolling. We kind of have summertime in this house because Megan's a teacher.
Yeah.
So, but her summer was really short this year because
we put her ass to work and she came and picked up jobs.
I tried to be. She was great. She would be like, "Hey, Reed, do you need some help for this job or that job, or what do you need me to do?" And I said, "No, I want you to enjoy your summer," because she was the summer school principal. So really, she basically had 4 weeks of summer, and that was it. Your boy, I told you about this, but it was I didn't really want to take any trips. I'm trying to watch the money super tight, super tight. But we found something that we could get away just for literally 3 or 4 days, which ended up being a huge blessing. I think I told you it was I didn't want to necessarily do it, but then you do it and you're like, man, we really needed this.
You needed it. You have sometimes you just have to take a little bit of a break. It's funny, me and Brian, we're trying to save money. We don't go anywhere. So our breaks are Memorial Day.
Yeah. Labor
Day. Yep. Coming up. It's those are the ones where it's oh, we got a Monday off. Okay. And then on that Monday, she'll organize everything that she needs done. We'll just hang out at the house. Just an extra weekend day.
You and I had multiple conversations about me just trying to either come to Nashville for just a weekend just so we can play golf and hang out. Yeah. And, whatever. And then vice versa, you coming up here. But, it gets tough, but no. So it's been a great summer. She started school this past week. But other than that, man, super fortunate. And, really now getting excited for football. I think I've hit pretty much about peak excitement as I can get for the Titans, because I found myself watching Cam Ward highlights from college, and I was like, all right, Reed, calm down. Chill out. But I'll say this for me, if you want to click that puppy down, and I'll just say season expectations for me, Kyler, to kind of start this and let you jump off with it. And you know what's funny? I just realized you and I haven't talked about this, how we think the team's going to be at all. So, but I've started to have those conversations with buddies on Xbox Live, with phone calls, and you're hearing people say, well, I don't know about this. I don't know about the quarterback. Well, Joey, is Joey going to win the job? Yeah, he is going to win the job, but he was kind of a turnover machine. Well, he hasn't had a coach like Heupel. And these are the different friends that are saying stuff. And then it's well, I don't think our defense is going to be as good this year. I don't think this. And I just sit there, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to think that it's 5 years. This is going to be year 5 for Heupel. It's going to be year 5 for the podcast, which, side note, I also went back and watched some of our very first episodes. I didn't watch them all the way through, but briefly. And it's so funny how much has changed for you and I in 5 years. The different times we've moved locations.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we've shot this podcast in probably no less than 15, 12 different locations between the two of us.
I mean, Chinese buffet.
Your weight loss, my weight gain. The
This guy's a D tackle, man.
I mean, those different things. But anyways, for this to be year 5 of Heupel, I sit back and I say, like, I just trust the guy. I truly, truly do. He's gotten us to this level. Is he going to get us to that next one? I truly don't know, but I'm very hopeful that
he has shown consistency. That is for sure. And the previous coaches before him for that, 15-year stretch, that was what caused everyone so much strife. Is there was no consistency. It was up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah, you could have one good year, but your next year you won 5 games. So it was just like Heupel's been the one where it's just build. Even when we lose a lot of guys, I'm still going to have a good season with Joe Milton at quarterback. And it's like, okay, you have to put a lot of faith in Heupel now. There's nothing to say that he can't.
I completely agree. I think it's nothing short of spectacular what he's done since he's been here. And it just hits different, bro. When you feel confident in your coach, you don't have to feel like you're grabbing at everything in the offseason, like, oh, is he going to be good? Is he going to be good? Is this going to be good? Like, oh, we really need to land this transfer. We really need to – I'm just like to the point I'm like, dude, Heupel's going to get it done with whoever he has. And now for me, that's my personal expectations. Like, we're going to win 9 games, potentially 10 games with Heupel. And if we maybe lose a bummer and we're 8 wins, it's like I just feel like we know where we are and what we have with him. It's the same way I felt when we had Mike Vrabel as the head coach at the Titans. Now, I felt every game we went into, we had a chance to win, but I also feel like some of what Vrabel's issues were the general manager portion of the house.
Yeah, I mean, John Robertson really messed that up.
Yeah, and I didn't trust whoever it was, whether it was John Robinson, whether it was Vrabel with Rand Carthon or whoever. But it's like with Heupel, that would maybe be the only thing I need to see continue. Like, hey, are we going to be able to get the guys in to really elevate us to one step closer? Because, I mean, the guy's beaten Bama. He's beaten Florida. He's beaten the likes of LSU's. The only team he hasn't beat, which is Georgia, and this is Georgia's greatest run probably in their history of their their
for sure.
No, it is. Football. So, and not only in the history of their college football program, but like it's one of the best runs in college football history by a team with the national championships, with all the players. So it's like, hey, let's be realistic. Let's see how he does this year.
Definitely.
And then the only other thing is like he's got us in playoffs. I mean, his second year, we were ranked number 1 overall, like midway through the season. So it's like what he's done has been incredible. And yeah, let's just see if he can continue to maintain it, and let's see if we can knock at the door, maybe winning 1 or 2 playoff games. Yeah. So
I think this season, like your buddies had said, there are a lot of unknowns going into this season. And I mean, the most important position on the team is an unknown, which we didn't expect at the end of the year last year. We thought that was going to be a solidified thing. So expectations are way up here at the end of the year. As soon as that happened, I'm bringing them back down. I'm thinking the 9 wins, maybe 10 if we're lucky. And if, Joey is able to just like turn it on. But yeah, it's just, it's simmered a little bit, but there's like 11 teams in the SEC who are expecting 9 to 10 wins. So they're kind of in the same boat as us. Just because they came down a little bit doesn't mean I don't expect him to beat Florida or to beat the, Mississippi State. He better win. Vanderbilt, you better win. Kentucky, you better win. I want to see you beat Florida. But I understand if you lose to Georgia. You know what I mean? It's like those things are still happening. When it gets tough is like, hey, Nico's coming in. Hey, he's solidified. Hey, he's got a playoff game under his belt. We better compete or win against Georgia this year. So it's like my expectations going into the year would have been totally different had all that stuff been a different scenario.
I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point. I don't know for me personally how I would have felt if Nico was still our quarterback, because I would have felt like he had to make a big jump forward, and I don't know if that was going to happen. Side note, and I'm going to say this so I don't forget to talk about it towards the end when we talk about going to practice next week. I need to trust my eyes. And I think doing this and getting reps of doing this, of going to practice and reporting back on what we've seen, I feel way more confident in doing it, because when you're doing it for the first couple of times of going to practice, you're like, wait, like he looks good, or he doesn't look good, or he looks big, or he looks fast, or I'm impressed with him, I'm not impressed with him. And I would be like, well, is this just one practice? Do I not want to give out false hope, or do I not want to be the guy that's like, oh my gosh, this guy's incredible? And you and I feel like we have picked up on different nuggets throughout the year, some right, some wrong, that I've thought about. But like last year, I remember going and seeing, I was like, number 87, is this dude? I was like, this guy is a unit. He looks good. He looks fluid. He looks athletic. And then Miles became our best tight end and one of our better players. And then I also left that day saying, yo, Nico was horrendous in routes on air. Like, we could not complete. I mean, the routes on air too were going into the red zone or going into the end zone, and they were from like the 35-yard out. And they had more balls on the ground than we did at Knoxville Catholic at some points. And I just feel like I should have been like, yeah, dude, like that ended up being a problem throughout the year. And I remember leaving that day from practice and calling Ryan Shumpert with Rocky Top Insider with us. I was like, Ryan, this is the first practice I've been to on routes on air. Like, that was horrendous. He was like, that was the worst of this year. He goes, but it hasn't been a ton better after that. And you think about that and you translate that going into the season, and Nico still missed plenty of wide open guys.
Yeah.
And so I bring that tidbit in just so that I didn't forget to say it, like trusting our eyes at practice. But the point that you made to say, hey, if we've got Nico, we've got a solidified guy. My question almost to you is, because I'm sitting here thinking he's got to take a big step for us to be there. But you look at it, it sounds like, hey, I don't care whether he's got to take a step or not. The pressure on him as a second-year starter and the pressure on Heupel with his guy at quarterback, they have to win that Georgia game. Or is that what you're saying?
It is. And then it's also like, I have personally been through an off-season program at a major college institution, and you are forced to get better. If you don't play. It's like, as January hits and you're like, I have to get stronger. I have to make my body better. I have to get in better shape. I have to, be a better athlete. And then a week before, 2 weeks before spring practice, you're like, I got to get smarter. I got to get better with my technique. I got to understand plays more. I got to be faster in the way that I think about stuff. And you're doing that all through camp. Or all through spring practice. You're trying new things. Hey, if I take this hitch step in my, drop, maybe I can do this differently. Like, as a quarterback, I'm just throwing that out for instance. Hey, let me try these different arm angles if I have to do it. Hey, let me connect with my wide receivers more. So it's like, if you're not growing during the off season, there's something like wrong with you. So I always have this thought in my head, like, I know that player is going to be better next year. Now, how much better? I don't know, but he is going to be better. There's no way that he can just stay the same, because if he does, I don't even think he'll play. It's like, you got to get better every day, every year, every snap, every game. It's got to be like, hey, week 2, I'm better. I'm a better football player than I was week 1.
No, I think that's another great point by you. And even personally for me, that's something that I sometimes, I don't want to say forget about, but maybe I'm a little suspect, a little jaded, a little, cautious with certain players. Like, going into it, for example, when my buddies are talking online and you got the group that's like, hey, I think we're going to be better than people think, or the group that's like, dude, we could be pretty trash. For example, when someone says and makes comment about the defense not being as good as last year, I'm like, hey, hold on. Me personally, I think our defense is still going to be pretty darn good. I really, really do. I know you lose the names of a first-round draft pick in James Pierce. You lose a guy who necessarily the production wasn't there compared to other guys in his room, but the leadership was there with like Amari Thomas. You lose a guy that you and I loved, Omar Norman Lott. He's an NFL player now. But I still turn and look and I said, hey, there's still a lot of dudes. I can sit here and still name you 5 to 8 to 10 dudes on the D-line that I feel very comfortable in. And the fact that those guys have another year in the program because, and this is where I say, hey, I think about this is like, I know what a year did for me between my junior and senior year of high school. You know what it did for you between the day you stepped on UT's campus for the first time until you graduated. Exactly. I mean, it was a huge up. So I get that. I think if I tie all this into, it would have still made me nervous about Nico. I don't know why with the quarterback. With the quarterback position, I guess it's stuff like accuracy and missing wide open guys. That's the stuff that's like, I don't know how much that translates or how much better you can get with that type of stuff. You would have thought he would have been a lot better with the offense and command of the offense and making checks and all those things. Like that's definitely better. But if you've got Squirrel White wide open, why I don't understand why I need to feel better about it the next year than you did the previous year. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it definitely makes sense. It's just always like the longer someone is in the program, the better I feel about them. And that's just always going to be the case. It sucks that like we're now in the transfer portal era and there's going to be times where you're going to get a guy for 1 year, but the more he's there, the more consistently he's there, the more he's working with his actual teammates he's going to be playing with, makes me feel better. And that's why it's always like, it always pisses me off in like the NFL, for instance, when a quarterback signs with the team and then he's just not fucking there. Just not practicing with the guys. And I'm like, you're going to suck. Like it's going to suck. If you are not there practicing with the guys, you're going to be bad. You have to be there.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it.
So,
well, I just think for me, season expectations. I don't know if we need to put a win-loss record on it just yet, or if we save that for the podcast right before the season starts. I've kind of already made it known that I feel confident going into this year. I think, when I'll be surprised if it's not Joey Aguilar. That I have not gone to practice yet. I haven't seen it. I mean, you haven't seen it, and you'll see it. Obviously, when we went to practice, we were, I guess, right and wrong with whether it was DeBrian Howard, Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker, all that stuff. But I think it's going to be Joey just because of something.
Maturity.
Yeah. It's kind of like what you said. He's whether it's not in our program or not, he's just played a lot more college football than Jake Merklinger.
Exactly.
And so if it's Joey at quarterback, I still have to put – and I know I watched some of the stuff that came out when he committed to us, and it was, hey, he has some wild throws. He's a gunslinger. He's going to throw a lot of picks, but he's thrown a lot of touchdowns. But we'll look at this, look at that. I look at it kind of like you're saying, like, guys been in the program longer, they're going to get better. Well, I look and say he's going to have one of the best offensive minds, in my opinion, in Josh Heupel.
Yep.
He's going to have a lot better talent around him than he's ever had. And so I think just those two things alone, I'm going to be surprised if he's not better. And I have not loved our quarterback play for the past 2 years. So for me, it's almost like it can't be worse. I mean, and it's like I honestly think, Kyler, if Nico was coming into this year again, like I might be even more worried than I am now because I feel like the pressure is there. It kind of looks bad on a national scene. If it's like, well, Heupel this is Tennessee's 5-star. They went out and got him. He got to redshirt for a year. He got to play a year. Now he's here. This should be when he takes over. And I just don't know if that was ever going to happen with Nico because of the stuff that's between the ears. And so it's almost like we're playing with house money. And I think Tennessee's going to be pretty good this year. I really, really do. I mean, I think we're going to have 9 or 10 wins. I've said it already. I think the defense is going to be darn good. I think our D-line is going to be good. Our linebackers, who have had some very up and down moments, in my opinion, the past 2 years, if you just think about it, and it's one thing that I texted you that I listened to the media day before they started camp, and I listened to Josh Heupel, and then I listened to Tim Banks. I don't really ever listen to Joey Halsey because he's not the play caller. He's not the play caller. Right. So I kind of I get 2 and 1 with Heupel. He's my head coach and my offensive guy. Heupel's not going to give you much. He did say one thing that I was like, okay, I get that, when they asked about the wide receivers. And instead of like, and camp hadn't started yet, but with the receivers, instead of being like, yeah, we're really happy with some of these young guys, he's like, yo, we're just young and we don't have time to be young. I was like, that's a message. He didn't say, oh, Kyler Kerbison's this and Reed Bacon's that. He just said, we're young and we don't have time to be young. Yeah. But then you go to Tim Banks, and I feel like I always get some good nuggies from Tim Banks every year. But one thing that stood out to me was when he talked about the linebacker room, and he said it's probably the most athletic that we've been since we've been here. Now, he didn't say the best or the most experienced, but he said most athletic. Mm-hmm. And we never really got Keenan Peely because of injury and stuff like that. His career was very short-lived here, but he had some pretty good moments. Mm-hmm. But then you got Elijah Herring from a couple years ago who moved on to Memphis. You got Jalen Smith, who moved on to Mississippi State. And you see some of these guys that have played a little bit and gone. But then you got your T. Landers, who is still here. You got your Arian Carter, who is still here and has taken another step. Edwin Spillman, who we loved, and now he's another year older, to mix in with some of those young dudes that we love. And it's like, okay, I'm not saying that linebacker was a weakness over the couple of years, but it could have been maybe a little bit of a weakness over the past couple of years. So
looking at the totality of the defense, and you pick a position group that might be the weakest point, it would be linebacker. I mean, you can't tell me it's DB and you can't tell me it's D-line.
Right. So, and so when he says something like that, it's kind of like, hey, he's not going to say we're better. He's just saying we're more talented. And so it's like, that means that his job as a coach is like, if I can get these dudes' eyes in the right spot, then they're going to get to the ball faster. If they're in man coverage, they're going to be better because they got the better natural ability. If they got a blitz, it's going to be better. So I'm very excited about that core because, you and I love the freshmen coming in. You got, like I said, T. Lander and Arian Carter. I cannot wait to see Edwin Spillman. And then he's talked about Jordan Burns, who's a guy that we broke down his highlight film. And we're like, yeah, it's fine. He's got a chance. Like, he's not bad. But he's one of those guys he was stewing and brewing. And he didn't have to play last year, and now he's here. So it's like, what kind of depth does he give us? And then lastly, Kyler, I'll admit this too. Like, I kind of forgot about Jermon McCoy getting injured, and I'm very optimistic with injuries these days because people come back so quick. But I don't want – it usually takes about a year to get back full, like, meaning he's going to come back and play at some point, but he probably won't be his true self again until he's in the NFL. Potentially. And so it's like, I do want to take note of that because he is so good, but I still think as a whole, the defense is still going to be pretty darn good in my opinion.
I agree. I think so. And I think that's kind of what gives hope for the season of getting to those 9-10 win games, because we won a lot of games last year because our defense was so good and not because of our offense. In the same way that we won a lot of games in 2022 because our offense was so good and not necessarily because of our defense. So I think that's what makes me feel the best about Heupel is like he understands his limitations and the players that he has and what he can do and what is really good. And that's why Dylan Sampson was SEC Player of the Year last year because he was the freaking driving force of that offense. It wasn't Nico. It was Dylan. Yeah. So just like leaning on the guys that you can lean on. Yeah. And then over these 5 years, Heupel has done such an impressive job with offensive stuff. Tim Banks has done such an impressive job with defensive stuff. It's like, why would I not trust them to continue to do that?
Yeah, I agreed completely. And I mean, I'm very excited just to see the offensive linemen in person next week. I think they're going to be massive. I think we're going to be no disrespect to Cooper. Cooper was a very good center for us, but Cooper was a smaller guy for offensive linemen, and especially in the SEC. So now if you get a big boy there, and then you got Wendell Moy, who is a massive individual,
Huge.
you got Sam Piddleton, and you got all the young guys that you and I watch their recruiting films who potentially takes a step there, like a William Satterfield or a Max Anderson or whoever the case may be. And then you got Lance Hurd, who has all the skill and talent in the world. He's a year older. And then we've got him marked here with David Sanders, which we'll get to in just a second. But it's like, I can't wait to see our offensive line, how big they are. Our running backs are not going to be as good as Dylan Sampson. They're just not going to be.
No.
There's not a Dylan Sampson, but can we still be really good as a group? And then wide receivers. I mean, they're talented. Are they going to make the plays? But it's so all the questions. All the questions for me are offensively, but I still feel that doesn't change my season expectations, and maybe that's naive. Anyways, I was wrong potentially about David Sanders. We saw him on the field when we went down there before the Florida game, and he walked right by us. And I felt like he looked more of like a big high school basketball player than did a football player because he was wearing a full like tracksuit. Yeah. And so he looked great and he looked super athletic, but he just looked lean. And then obviously we watched his highlight film and we loved it. And I said, Kyler, I don't know if he could potentially start like day one. I don't know. I was like, do you think he could? And you're like, absolutely. Like his hands and feet are so good. And you're like, he's going to come in. They're going to put weight on him. Supposedly he's gone from 270 to 305. You see the pictures. He could be our next Trey Smith of, hey, this is a 5-star, not Nico, but this is a 5-star. And anyways, I'll stop talking. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Have you seen the pictures of him?
David? I haven't seen the pictures of him. I knew, like, when I saw him and he was lighter, I was almost like more excited that he was lighter, because I've seen a lot of super athletic guys who never thought they would play tackle. Someone finally tells them, hey, you should play tackle. And then they're freaking amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. Juwan James did not play tackle until his senior year of high school. He was a tight end in high school. And then he played tackle. And then they were like, oh, this guy. Joe Staley for the San Francisco 49ers. He used to be a tight end.
Lane Johnson, tight end.
Lane Johnson was a freaking tight end. I mean, when the guys find that position, it's fun to watch. And like I said, athleticism, he's got it. Hands, he's got it. Okay, 30 pounds on that frame at freaking 6'7", that's easy money.
Yeah.
Easy. So I'm excited. Obviously, that 30 pounds, some of it's muscle, not all of it's muscle. So don't think that, everyone. That's just some different eating habits. We're going to get those calories on you. We're going to get that weight on you. Because here's the thing, too. People don't always realize. The weight is not just, hey, I'm stronger. The weight is also, hey, I'm denser. Hey, I've got more to use against this guy. Someone can't run through me in the same way they did before. So it's you gotta be there because you saw big boy over at Florida. It's like if David Sanders has a down block and he's 270, and he's trying to block that fat ass who's 460, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
So you got to put a little bit of weight on so you can lean against them boys.
It's a great point. It's funny that you bring up like it's not all muscle because so many people, whether
it's like 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, that doesn't happen in 6 months.
No, yeah, that's what's funny. Whether you hear it on the radio and it's a journalist or just a beat writer or whatever, like, yeah, he came in, he went from 270 to 305 muscle. It's like
muscle.
It's like that's not how it works unless you're on steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't need David on steroids. That's the last thing we need. We do not need that. But it's like, no, you're right. Just the weight in general for offensive, defensive line, and even at like linebacker at certain times, like you don't want to jeopardize your speed, but it's not realistic that you're going to put on 20 pounds of muscle and still have abs and the same cuts and all that stuff. But I thought he looked great. I cannot wait to see them in person next week. So yeah, I'm excited, and I know once you get to see it and digest it, you're going to be like, hey, I feel good about this guy, or maybe not, or whatever. But anyways, Boo Carter.
Boo.
I got so sick and tired of hearing his name and just the back and forth. And when I very first heard it, I was getting in the truck, leaving a job, heading to the dump, and I hear his name. I'm like, oh, he got kicked off the team. He probably did something stupid. And I wasn't surprised. But then you just hear about like the issues going on. And I started listening, and I almost jumped on and did a little phone video. And I said, no, I'm not going to. I said, because I don't want to add to, not that I was going to speculate anything. I don't even just want to add anything to the Boo sphere on Twitter or Vol Nation.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm going to hold my opinion until we hear from Coach Heupel and hear everything. I knew you and I would be getting on here. And I'm extremely excited to hear your side of it. I'll just say my side of it. One thing that I don't think is going to surprise people is, for me, is like, if you're a distraction, like, you're gone. You're not bigger than the T. When Josh Heupel said that about Nico, it needs to always remain true. And I do not know the details of how things went with Nico compared to Boo. So I'm not saying that Josh Heupel stood on business with Nico and now he's bending the knee to Boo. I'm not saying that, because I don't know what's taking place on there. I know Nico never showed back up, and I know Boo that is there now. So I'm just leave it at that. No one's ever bigger than the program for me, ever. Never going to happen. So I don't care if it was James Pierce, Omar Norman Lott, Dylan Sampson, any of those guys last year. Like, if they were causing an issue, they should have been gone. Now, here's the other thing that I have not heard anyone say, whether it's radio, reading stuff on Twitter, talking with friends. Boo is a good player. He is a good talent. If there's a position to replace somebody on Tennessee's team, the easiest position to replace is our star position, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who we've had there since Josh Heupel's been here, they have been good. They have been good, and they've produced. Whether it was Theo Jackson. Hell, I don't even know if Theo was the guy first year, but we had Theo Jackson in there that did well. We had a rotation of like Tamarian McDonald and Wesley and freaking guys I can't even remember because they've transferred out, but I feel like we've always been pretty solid at that position. And then you go to last year. Newsflash, guys. Boo wasn't even the full-time starter. I know Christian Harrison's not here anymore, but I thought Christian Harrison was just as good as Boo Carter was last year. Now, granted, Boo was a true freshman. Mm-hmm. And with our Kyler Kerbyson theory, he was going to get better every year that he's here. And I know that Christian Harrison was already like a junior or redshirt sophomore, whatever he was, so he had years up on him. So technically, in the long haul, Boo should be better than Christian. I'm just talking about last year alone. Now, I know Christian's not here, but I'll say it again. If you have to replace a position, if you are going to replace, either replace a running back or a star position, because I feel like those two are the easiest to replace. Maybe potentially safety, but that's just my thing is like we're not losing our left tackle. We're not losing our quarterback. We've already been through that. We're not – I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, and then the thing, I know Boo's special with the ball in his hands at punt returner. I know they talked about him on offense. I would believe the offense when I see it. So I was not earmarking him in there yet. I still think that you can get somebody back that returns punts. And for me, Kyler, I don't want to be naive. Having a really good punt returner is a big deal. We won the Texas A&M game because of D. Williams, in my opinion. So it's like that can win you and lose you games back there at punt returner. But if we don't have Boo, just get somebody that doesn't drop the ball. That's it. Don't put Squirrel White back there and let him watch the ball bounce 10 times because field position is so important. So I'll stop talking about Boo. He's there now. I hope he has a short leash. If he does what he's supposed to do, great. If not, kick his ass to the curb immediately. And I'm not going to be surprised if this is the last year that we see him at Tennessee, or if he doesn't even make it through. Do I hope it's a Jawan Jennings situation and he gets back here and he does great and he ends up being one of our best players for the next couple of years? Yeah, but I said it when we recruited him, and you could go back and watch it. I said, I'll be surprised if the guy ever ends up playing, at Tennessee are meaningful snaps. I was wrong. He played meaningful snaps as a freshman, but it still stands true. When you hear the stuff you hear about being a prima donna, going to 3 or 4 different high schools, or whatever the case may be, that shit usually doesn't change. Sorry, I'm done. It just frustrates me. And I try to.
You're right. You're right. I mean, that stuff was going on when he got recruited.
One more thing. I try to give grace to these dudes at 18, 19, 20 years old because I know how different I am at 34 than when I was at their age. So I'm not trying to it's totally different. Totally. Mm-hmm. We are still so young and immature at that age. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. No. I mean, that what you just said there at the end is exactly what needs to happen. Boo needs to grow up. He needs to mature. You used Juwan Jennings as an example of someone who came back and was successful after a leave from the team. This isn't like Juwan. Juwan and his work ethic and how he treated everything is totally different than the way Boo is. He had a tiff with the coaches, the interim coaches, at that time. So it's a little bit different of a situation. It is more like one that I was personally involved with and saw firsthand of Derrick Rogers. That's what it's more like. You made a great point about Nico. The fact that Heupel put his foot down, the T is bigger than anybody here. That will be true and will always be true. I just don't understand Boo's thought process and why he thinks that he is bigger, why he thinks that he can do whatever he wants. You just saw the $2 million man get dropped. You saw the most expensive player on the team get let go. That's what you just saw. And you thought to yourself, I can do what I want because I'm good at the star position. That you could just, I'll just miss workouts. I'll just do this. Here's the thing. Like you said, everyone was replaceable. Hopefully, Boo can hear this story. But Derrick Rogers did the same shit. He missed workouts on purpose. Didn't want to be there. Whatever. I've talked about it before. He's even reached out to me and said, don't talk bad about me. I'm like, I'm not lying about anything. You missed workouts.
Hold on. I was going to say something about this because it's been about a year or so now. But I promise you, I knew Derrick's name would come up. And I was going to say that I think it's hilarious that people don't know this, but he tried to DM Kyler and send some threatening like, hey, you better stop talking about me because I'm going to do this. And maybe he threatened legal action. It has been literally 2 years. Nothing's happened. Whatever. But I bring all this up to say you were not the only person to bring up Derrick. I have heard, and everyone knew it was true when you brought it up, except for Derrick wanted to still be in his feelings, which is fine. But like since all this Boo stuff's come out, I've heard Jason Swain bring up Derrick's name. I've heard Eric Ainge bring up Derrick's name multiple times. And it's like, dude, like you're the example. Don't try to threaten us or you or Rocky Top Insider with legal action when we didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, here are facts. I'll just put facts out there and you guys can make your determination however you want, including Derrick. He can make his determination. Fact, Derrick was not at workouts for a week after break in the summer. That is a fact. Fact, when Derrick got back, head coach, the head strength coach, Coach McKeefrey, said that he missed workouts and he should get some kind of punishment. That's a fact. Fact, Malik Jackson slapped the shit out of Derrick Rogers because he missed workouts. Fact. Derrick had to go through a process of getting back in good graces with the team. Fact. Another fact. 2 months later, Cordell Patterson was joining the team. Fact. A week after that, he caught about 4 or 5 balls with one hand and mossed DBs at practice. Fact. A week after that, Derek was kicked off the fucking team. So you can say however you want. I was allowed to do that. Don't spread bad shit about me. This isn't exactly what happened. But those things I just said were all facts. Okay. Everyone else, you know what? You could just take those facts and determine what you think happened and how people saw other people. Because as soon as a good wide receiver came in that would take the number 2 spot, Reed, not number 1, because guess who was wide receiver 1? Justin Hunter. Okay. The number 2 wide receiver spot, as soon as there was one person that was good enough to take that, they kicked him off the team.
Yeah.
I don't know why that wasn't a wake-up call for someone, but it should have been, and it should have humbled somebody. And maybe that's what ends up happening in this situation. I hope it doesn't. I hope what Heupel is saying, hey, he's got to go through these steps and he's got to do these things so he can get back on the field and he can be in good graces with his teammates, not just coaches, with his teammates. How the hell am I ever supposed to trust a guy who doesn't give a shit? I can't.
I think that's
can't play next to you. If you're a guard next to me and you're just missing shit, I don't trust you at all. I'm going to start blocking your fucking guy because I don't know if you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest point here is like when all this came about, and I didn't have to call and ask you your opinion because I knew your opinion, but I think it's good for other people to hear it. Like as the guy who was on the team, and I mean, I've been on teams and I can give my opinion on it, but it's like it pisses people off. It pisses other players off when they got a teammate that thinks they are getting away with stuff, whether it's not showing up to stuff and not being ridiculed like someone else, or as small as like, dude, I feel like the coaches go easier on him than he does the rest of us. And that's why you always hear about coaches going harder at their best players, because then the other role players see like, oh, if he's on his ass, then I know I got to be on mine. So it's like players and young men at that age definitely get frustrated. And I know that they were probably frustrated with Boo. Well, I mean, it's been reported that it is, but it's just like you all were frustrated with the Rick or whoever else was acting like a fool and not showing up because it's not fair. This is the ultimate team sport, and when someone's not a part of the team, it matters. I'll say what the craziest thing about this is for me is like with the Rick situation and anyone else in the situation of college football that's been kicked off a team for doing certain things before NIL. I mean, maybe I kind of understood it. Maybe kind of understood it because they were not getting paid. Now, someone with the Rick's talent, I mean, if he had just shown up, done the right stuff, he got a chance in the NFL anyways. But maybe if he had done his stuff and stuck to it, like he had talent to go, I guess, first, second, third round, and that's life-changing money. But so it's like he kind of had to have the apple at the end of the light. Boo's already got the apples. These dudes are getting paid now. So it's like crazy for me to think that like you're getting good pay. You're getting paid well now to play a sport plus an education. And the apple at the end of the tunnel is generational money. So it's like, it still just baffles me unless he just thinks he can do what he wants. And if Tennessee kicks him off, then any other team's going to pick him up. And you know what? Someone else will give him an opportunity, but I would be shocked if it's going to be making what he's making at Tennessee, or it still looks bad for you when you are getting scouted by the NFL and looking to go drafted. And the difference between drafted second, third, fourth round compared to being seventh round or undrafted free agent because you got off the field issues, it's the difference. And the other thing is too, we can sit back and look at this now as mid-30-year-olds and people listening to us that might be like, hey, Reed and Kyler, I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm whatever, and they can look back on stuff. But it's just like these dudes now are just they only see so short-sighted stuff, and it's just like you got the
mixed with ignorance. That's what it is. The fact that you are arrogant enough to think you already know everything and that you can do the things the way that you think they should be done, and no one else can give you more, is idiotic. It's very ignorant to think that way, because when you show up and you're fucking 18 or 19, maybe just try the things that people are trying to give to you as examples of, this is going to make you stronger. This is going to make you faster. This is going to make you smarter. This is going to make you better at being a football player. Why guys are like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I don't need that. I don't need that. I can do it my way. Why the fuck do you think that you can already do it like that? You're 19. You're 18. You shouldn't think that way. You should go, hey, maybe I can gain some knowledge from this. Maybe I can take whatever he's telling me and find more things and grow as a player. But guys are not humble enough to do that. And that's what was going on with Rick. Rick never worked out because he thought he didn't need to, that it wasn't important, that our head strength coach didn't know what he was talking about. Why do you think that? You telling me that you got a plethora of workout experience in high school? Huh? Or a plethora of lifting experience in 1 year with Beanie Wells before Coach McKeefer got there? Now you're an expert at what you should be doing in the weight room and out on the, like, no, you're not. You don't have that much experience. Yeah. And like, humble yourself, realize you don't, and maybe try and soak in some stuff from other people, learn some lessons. Yeah. It's insane.
I just think that's the one thing I think that's what's so tough about life, because whether it's people like us or whether it's guys that are the coaches, and you get these coaches that are 40, 50, 60 years old, and it's like, young man, like, I just want to grab you and teach you. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen all the time. And you and I are young enough to be able to remember how we thought at that age.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it makes it even worse, because it's like, oh man, dude, if you just show up and do what these people are telling you to do and just be yes sir, no sir, like, your life is going to be so much easier and you're going to end up doing so many good things. And it's like, that's just life though, man. That's just life, unfortunately. It happens to everybody. But my biggest thing to finish up on that, a couple things is, well, I mean, I've already said it. No one's bigger than T. Kick his ass if he's acting like a joke. And I'm fine with giving second chances too, because there's great second chances. Like, I thought James Banks coming back on the team, he played great his senior year. Like, that's awesome. Obviously, Juwan Jennings is a great situation there. We'll see how it plays out, but I just truly hope that maybe it's because Boo always got an opportunity. He would leave one high school and go to another one, and so maybe he just knows. And this is crazy too. I never do stuff like this, but we were leaving the Alabama game this past year. We won, and Meg and I were leaving. And I walked by who I'm assuming was Boo's parents or his family or whatever. I mean, they literally had the jersey on that said like Boo, and it was bedazzled, and another shirt. Like, it's his family, his crew. And I've never wanted to go up to someone's family and like bother them or anything like that. Or like, I don't want to use a bad word of saying like I'm going up to like stroke their ego or lack of a better word, really juice their son off or whatever. But I was just walking by him, and you know how when you're trying to get out of kneeling, you're just like this and you're walking up, and I saw him. I said, Boo's been, I literally think I looked at him. I said, hey, Boo's been really good this year. Like, you all should be really proud. He's played a great game, He's been awesome. And they don't know this, but I said it almost as like coming from surprise, because I never thought that the kid would maybe put it together on the stuff that you hear. But they were like, hey, thanks a lot. Like, I really appreciate you saying that. Like, they were very nice, cordial about it. But that's all. I said that because I was like, he did play well and he has been good. But like I said, for me, it was coming from a place of like, bro, I'm kind of shocked you got it together. And so I kind of remembered that when all this stuff coming about, and I was just like, dang, man, like, who knows? Anyways, last thing I'll say about this too, because we brought it up and you mentioned Cordell Patterson. I saw his highlights again. They just pop up on timeline from time to time.
People forget, dude. I saw it in person, and that shit was crazy.
I mean, to our buddy Tyler Williamson, it's the day of the NC State game, and he's like, "Bro, I'm telling you, this Cordell Patterson guy."
Yeah,
he's
because
like,
Tyler
played against him
playing against him, right?
in JUCO.
Yeah.
Tyler's JUCO was not very good, and Cordell Patterson's was, but Cordell Patterson's team beat him 90-0 in JUCO. And you know how good Tyler is. So Tyler's a great athlete. And so Tyler was always very much like, I'm not gonna say it was hard to get his approval, but he's so good that it's hard for other players to impress him. And Tyler was like, dude, I've never seen anyone with that size and speed with his hands on the ball. And I was like, well, if Tyler's saying it, then okay, cool. But as a fan, you always hear, oh, this guy's the next this guy's the next this. So like, I'll believe it when I see it. And then that NC State game, you see it and you're like, with the ball. And I'm not talking about running by someone and him catching the pass. I'm talking where they just were like, here you go, bro. Here's the ball. Do something.
Hey, listen, dude. He got there right before training camp, okay? And in the NC State game, we already had a trick play set up so he could get the ball in his hands. He ran the wrong route on his first fucking touchdown. It was just like, as soon as he showed up, everyone went, oh, snap. Like, Coach Chaney, who's our offensive coordinator, was like, oh, this is incredible. He was like, in what ways can I give this guy the ball? In any way possible. He's running freaking sweeps. He's running double reverses. He's running, everything that he can to get the ball in his hands. And you look at that little highlight tape. I mean, how many trick plays are on there? He's got a 60-yard one versus Georgia. He's got like a 50-yard one versus Troy where he makes like 8 dudes miss. He's got a trick play versus NC State. I mean, he's got returns versus Mississippi State versus Vanderbilt. He's got touchdowns, NC State. It's just like the guy went off. He was on the team for 6 months. And he got drafted in the first round.
I mean,
like, just incredible.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they just put him at running back a couple times against Georgia and hand it to him?
Yeah, I think so.
I almost have to give like kudos to. I mean, I know it wasn't necessarily Dooley because Chaney was the offensive coordinator, but like, thank goodness Dooley was like, hey, you know what? We're not very good. Just hand him the ball. Like, just put him back there. And I'm like, you know what? That's a smart coaching move. Like, don't overthink it. But yeah, man, going back and watch.
How can we get Cordero the ball? And everybody understood that.
I mean, going back and watching him and just seeing it, and I'm not going to sit here. I can't say he's one of the best UT receivers because realistically, he wasn't even that good of a receiver. Like, he didn't run great routes. He would forget routes. But just the ball in his hands. I mean, he's probably the best ball in hand player I've ever seen at Tennessee, I guess.
Why the hell did Atlanta put him at running back? You know what I mean? Like, why did he have a decade-long plus career in the NFL?
And he doesn't even have a position.
Played wide receiver.
He doesn't have a position.
Because he's a freak. They're just like, dude, I got to get the ball in this guy's hands somehow.
Yeah. I saw him one night. Obviously, you were on the team with him, but I saw him one night just out on campus. We were outside Tin Roof, and he walked by me, and I was just like, his size and like his speed and agility and quickness and twitch for his size. I mean, it's like made out of a lab. Yeah,
you do not expect him to move the way that he does, and then
or to be thick, or to be like is put together.
His ability to make a cut / juke at the speed that he's going is crazy.
Crazy.
Like, that's why his kick returns were just out of this world, because he would start sprinting and he'd get up to his full speed at like 20 yards. So he's coming at guys full speed and is able to just go like this, whoosh, and they will literally fall over when he does it. And he doesn't stop. The stride doesn't stop. He's still going the same speed. I've never seen anything like it. The way he's able to literally put a foot in the ground, change directions, and he's still going the same speed. And he just makes people look ridiculous.
You would almost think if he could put it together between his ears and like learn how to run routes and be a receiver, you're like, dude, he could have been a Pro Bowl receiver, but then you're like, it's almost more impressive that he made a decade-long career and it was all off his athleticism.
I mean, dude, he is right now the second best kick returner in NFL history.
Yeah. Coaches had to be so annoyed with him. It's like, damn it, Cordell, like learn the route tree. And it's like, he's just that good. He's just that good. But
he's just that good.
To wrap it up, not to bring him back up, but, Drick, how good Tennessee could have been if they had the three of them on the team. Drick could have been going out there getting like the third best.
I would have started to feel bad for our running backs because they're not on the field. Like we're going 5 wide every play.
I mean, you're
talking Justin Hunter, Derrick Rogers, Cordell Patterson, Zach Rogers, and then Michael Rivera.
Yeah.
I'm not running the ball.
I mean that it's insane. People forget Michael Rivera had a career for a couple years in the NFL. I mean, he was
a great tight end.
Yeah, nuts.
He was a great tight end. I mean, like I think he was like super athletic for his size. I wouldn't say like he was the best blocking tight end we've ever had, but man, that guy can make some good tough catches.
Yeah, he could. Well, man, it was great. I love getting back on here. I cannot wait to see you on Saturday. We're going to have a great day of some practice and golf and some hanging out. So, but it's good to be back on here. I hope people enjoyed it. Hit us with the comments and questions.
Definitely. See you, brother. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment. If you're just listening, rate, review, download, re-download. Follow us on all those listening platforms. Also follow us on social media. Everything is below in the description. And really appreciate it. Welcome back. We're into the 2024 season. So very excited for this. As always, go Vols.